All right, welcome to another episode of the Freezin NFC North Podcast, episode 72, 2023 NFC North Week 15 review and Week 16 preview. Bears drop another heartbreaker. Vikings beaten by their former QB that they cut. Lions down.
Motherfucking cut me.
Loved it. Lions dominate Broncos, and the Packers are rated at Lambeau. Let's get going. Once again, we've had you on before, Dave. Where can everyone find you as we get started?
Minnesota Sports Talk on YouTube, Skol World on Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook.
And I have to say, if you've never been to the Minnesota Vikings training camp, I did get a chance to go to all four this year, and hands down, the Vikings food and everything was the best. Have you guys been to that before?
I have never been. I live in South Florida.
I was there. My co-host and I were there. We went there 2 years ago and did the day down and when we had the joint practices with the Broncos. It was a good time.
I might be able to go this year, just because the job I have, I can work from anywhere in the U.S. So I might go back home for a couple weeks or something and hit it up. But yeah, I'd look forward to that.
Very nice. Yeah, I actually lived in Mankato, had a chance to go to that, but nothing is like what they have now in Eden Prairie, I believe it is.
Yeah.
And so welcome. Your voice, Rhino. Where can everyone find you as we get started?
We are on YouTube at Vikings Uncensored, Facebook as well, Twitter, most of your standard social media type network places. Check us out. We do shows. Live show every Monday night. There's kind of a wrap-up / vent line. My co-host Lance does a historical look we call Brunswick's Best, where he looks at the best players in Vikings history numerically. And then we do our normal studio shows Friday night at 6 p.m. So
all good stuff. Definitely like and subscribe, all of that. And we will have our Packer guy, Rev Trev from Kempner Sports on in a little bit. But welcome back as always. Seventh Letter, where can everyone find you as we get started?
You can find me 7th Letter 4 on X Twitter and same OG on Instagram and Facebook in the top of the NFC North. Yeah.
And this year it's not really meaning much from the rest of us divisions, but as we get started, NFLOutdated on all the socials as well for me, YouTube, and obviously here on Wednesday nights. But yeah, I mean, when you look at the Lions, they had a chance to really kind of get back on track. So give us, what happened? How did the Lions corral the Broncos 42-17 this past week, week 15?
Well, we had our whole offensive line back, so I think whenever Jared Goff makes me cynical, we already know that. It's his fault. It is what it is. But when we run the ball, we play well on offense. We got J-Mo the ball finally, like real wide receiver plays and not gadget. Actually used him as a wide receiver this week, which was good. Jahmyr Gibbs got going. Boy, did he. Monty kept the sticks moving. Laporta, your boy from Iowa, showed his ass. He's better and cheaper than Hawkinson. And St. Brown got involved again. He had 100 yards, 7 receptions, got the TD. It's just playing like we play. Like that's how we supposed to play. That's the potential we can play with. Now a part of me feels that we kind of knew how Sean Payton was gonna play us. So, and my whole coaching staff come from the Saints, so kind of felt like that a little bit too. So I didn't really put much into it. The Broncos are clearly not. They don't match up well with us, and it should be a test this week because we know the Vikings are gonna blitz, and Jared Goff doesn't seem to handle that too well. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, lots to think about kind of going into, week 16. We'll get into that as well. Wanted to break down what the Vikings did then. I mean, we'll kind of start with you, Dave, since you're up in the corner, in the Vikings corner. Tell us a little bit about what happened versus the Bengals in week 15.
Well, we were controlling the whole game. First half, we had 2 picks, but it didn't really affect us much. That left 6 points off the board, but we ended up going up 17-3 after that. Then the fourth quarter hit, and I would not blame the defense on that, or defensive coordinator on it. I would blame individual effort by individual defensive players who stood around and watched guys catch the ball, celebrating, thinking it's going to be incomplete. Higgins, lost a couple of our players. He kind of saved their quarterback from throwing the ball up for grabs. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, he was celebrating on the sideline, but, saying, hey, you should never cut us, or cut me, even though it was the guys that cut him aren't with the Vikings anymore. But, yeah, it was individual effort by their receivers and individual effort by a couple of defensive backs. Otherwise, we were controlling the whole game up until the fourth quarter.
I know I was going back and forth in our group with Shelby and Craig just about kind of the game and how it was going to go. And obviously, seventh letter, I was excited when it didn't go the way they wanted it to go.
You and I both, friend. You and I both.
But, Rhino, quite a bit different from the previous week with all the points you were able to score. I mean, does that give you a little bit of excitement, kind of going forward that you were able to score some points?
Yeah, I think it gives us a little more optimism, I guess. A chunk of the fan base, at least, after the first 2 weeks of Josh Dobbs, we're ready to anoint him as the next great thing. And then, of course, the pastronaut come crashing back down to earth. But the thing with Mullins is, the biggest reason Nick Mullins was the backup quarterback on his team to begin with is because he possesses a similar skill set. Nowhere not as talented, but possesses a similar skill set to Kirk Cousins, which is what this offense was tailored around, for this season, last season. Mm-hmm. So Mullins is able to run the playbook better than Dobbs was. Plus, he's been around for a couple of years. He knows the playbook as well as anybody. And other than those couple of really boneheaded throws that he made that ended up in interceptions, for the most part, what we got out of Nick Mullins was about as good as you could expect from a backup quarterback. I mean, he threw for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, I think, and with Justin Jefferson being back, of course, also, I feel better about it going into these final 3 weeks of the season, knowing that we have to win at least 2 of these games to make the playoffs. Then we can actually put some points on the board again anyway. So,
hey, seventh letter, they're talking about playoffs. I don't know. Are you guys that confident kind of, with, obviously Nick Mullen, he's got a certain set of skills. It's always funny that comment there. It always, Liam Neeson, right? I've got a certain set of skills. When you look at, as a fan base, are you guys, kind of thinking that this can be an opportunity to get in the playoffs? Obviously you're still there. And my Bears are not even anywhere near close. I get it. But Dave, are you kind of thinking that, or are you just kind of going one game at a time?
Well, yeah, you always go one game at a time, but history proves itself. We've always had good records in our division, and we rarely ever get swept. So Rhino stating, the fact that we like our chances of going 2 or 3, especially if, let's say, these guys win the Cowboys game and they're, last game of the season. Do you think the Lions would play their starters that last game of the season if they were no chance of getting to the, if they were stuck in the 3rd seed or vice, or whatever? But we're playing this one at home. The last time we were in a, backs against the wall game was San Francisco, and we pulled that one out. I think the last time I talked to you guys, you were on me about how bad our running game was. Mm-hmm. our run defense was, and our running game for that matter. Well, we're 5th against the run since that, overall this entire season. We held running backs and to like CMC to 45 yards, 3 yards per carry. The Packers got 70 yards against us. The Bears didn't do much on the ground against us. All the Raiders, good running back, didn't do very well against us. So our hope is with the Lions is that we could hold their running attack. And Seventh Letter wasn't too excited about his quarterback prior to turning on the camera. So that's our hope too, is that their quarterback Goff's got to beat us, and our defense shows up against the run. And they have all except for one game this year. So
against who?
Okay.
Against who? The Eagles, right?
The Eagles.
Yeah, it was the Eagles game, and the Eagles,
second game of the season.
Yeah, Eagles have something similar to what we have on the offensive line. So their offensive line is good, and they were able to move the ball.
Yeah,
so
we're playing a 3-man front the whole time. Yeah,
that was crazy too.
Are you excited for Ty Chandler right now?
I've been a big proponent of Ty Chandler getting a much bigger role in this offense for most of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all
95% of our fan base probably too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're absolutely. He finally got an opportunity to be the featured back last week, and he went out and promptly ran for 132 yards. I mean, that's surprisingly. That's the first 100-yard game a Vikings running back has had since week 10 of last year when Dalvin Cook did it. But, I don't know why it took so long to get to this point. I know that there's always been discussion that Chandler's not that great at pass protection. I thought he did fine, against Cincinnati in pass pro. Madison is better at it. I mean, there's no getting around that. But just that extra explosiveness that Chandler gives us, even if Madison can play, which he didn't practice today, so it's questionable whether he does, but I believe Chandler's earned himself that larger role, and Kevin O'Connell even said as much in his press conference earlier this week. So
I made the dumb mistake of not starting him in fantasy in one of my playoffs, and obviously I'm out of
called
playoffs.
Us, man.
I should have. But I also I own up to my comment, Seventh Letter. I did say start all your Bengals, start the Bengals defense, start everybody against the Vikings. And
once Reader got hurt, they started running the ball a lot better. I was like, oh, they about to. Chandler played really, really, really well last week.
I remember in training camp that there was a lot of talk that Ty Chandler just wasn't ready. Is it just kind of taking him a few games or most of the season to kind of get acclimated? I mean, because Madison, you kind of knew. Yeah, Madison wasn't really going to be the guy. I mean, you kind of knew that kind of going into the season, right, Rhino? Or
yeah, we went into the beginning of the season with Madison being the number one guy. That's why he re-signed back with us again this year, is because they basically told him that he was going to get that opportunity. But, we saw early on that we needed something else because we went and made the trade for Cam Akers, brought him in, and Akers was playing well up until he got hurt. But, I don't know if it just took Chandler a little while in practice to show the coaches what they wanted to see out of him. Even, up the last few weeks, he's been getting a few carries, but not that significant amount of the run game anyway. And it basically was an injury to Madison that forced the hand on it, and he came out and produced. So you kind of look back and say, where was this 6 weeks ago, kind of a thing. But I'm glad we have it now, and because we're going to need it the next 3 weeks for sure.
So I want to ask, Dave, like a fancy question, and obviously you guys know in the Vikings, if someone had, Akers, or Ty Chandler in Dynasty, which one? Is Akers going to get a shot next year at all?
Chandler?
Or no, is Cam Akers going to get a shot at all next year?
Yes. Oh, Cam Akers.
Or Or is he just...
I mean, I would think the only chance of him coming back is if he still should probably be available throughout the draft, right? He should still be available throughout the draft. And if we don't draft a guy, or we don't think in the offseason that who's the running back we had from UAB, Rhino?
Oh, McBride.
If he's still not ready, they really just stashed him. We thought there'd be more of him, but he didn't show enough in preseason. But yeah, I mean, I could see them bringing him back on cheap just because he's a O'Connell guy. But just to elaborate a little more on Ty Chandler, if you have a dynasty, yeah, I would take him. But you can probably have more options out there. You probably wouldn't be as confident with Ty Chandler. But let me say this: I was on him from the start. We drafted him in the 5th round. And we also drafted Jalen Naylor. I said those two guys were our best values in the draft in 2021 or 2022. And the reason Ty Chandler finally got his shot is last year, his 5th year, of being a feature back, and he 1,200 yards and looked good in the receiving game, averaging over 6 yards per carry, runs a 4.3, can catch the ball better than Alexander Madison by far. He's more efficient. He catches more of his targets than Madison drops them like crazy. It's sickening. There was no worry for me of blocking. I don't know where that crap was coming from. I think it was more fans' excuses or YouTube analysts saying that than it was coaches, because they weren't talking about it. So I think, Rhino can probably back me up on this. Some of our biggest problems with KOC is loyalty to veterans and not giving the new guys a chance. And every one of us, we figured it was going to be more of a split, and he comes out in the first game and gives Alexander Madison half the touches of the entire team, and we're like, what? And he had CJ Ham in there for 24 snaps as our fullback and targeted him 3 times. So it's like, what was going on? We thought from the start that Ty Chandler would have got opportunities, and it took him this long into the season to finally give him the shot. The one time we thought earlier in this year we thought he was going to get the load was Alexander Madison coming off a concussion. Freaking starts Madison, gives him most of the carries that game. We thought Madison wasn't going to play. He plays, and then he starts and gets most of the carries. So it's a KOC thing, is loyalty to veterans. But if he's smart, he would give 18 carries a game to Ty Chandler and 4 catches a game to him the rest of the year. And I like her. It's going to improve her offense. And 420 yards, man. That's what we needed. But I think he's the spark of what led to our offensive output this last year.
Yeah, well, talking about, I'm not sure what's happening with the team, my team, and no spark from the coaching. And kind of let's move on. The Bears find yet another infuriating way to lose. And I was on a Browns podcast, and I was going back and forth during the game. He's like, congratulations on the win. I said, no, hold on. This coaching staff knows exactly how to lose a game. And it's just 20-17. And not only that, 7th letter, I feel like, this whole football game, kicked my dog as well. And I don't even have a dog. But Mooney had a chance to catch this, Hail Mary, which never happens in Chicago, and he literally kicked it out of the way. So I don't know. In a way, I was frustrated, pissed, all of that. But in a way, there's a silver lining as a Bears fan. And the silver lining is that it sounds like Luke Getsy is most likely going to be done after this year, and then possibly even Eberflus as well. So this is now 3 games this season where the Bears, and I think this is a record, 3 games this season where they have lost with a greater than 90% chance of winning in the second half, and 2 of them were 98%.
Yeah.
That just like, and we let Joe Flacco pass for 200 yards. It was just inexcusable. The biggest thing with this coaching staff, is for the first time, each of them took blame, right? In the past, Getsy has thrown it on Fields, and he has thrown it on other players as well. And even, Eberflus, when Jalen Johnson had a nice interception, he threw shade at him and said, well, he intercepted it, but he didn't, find the blockers for the return. And these things happen regularly with Bears press conferences post game, and it's just, I think that's part of it, like taking accountability, right? And that's something this coaching staff has not been able to do. Finally, then too, you look at some of the final calls, and with the way the defense was finally saying, it was coaching. Like Mooney came out and said, we let off the gas. And then defensive player said, I hadn't practiced being that last play versus Njoku. We hadn't practiced in coverage. They had, a big guy trying to, cover him out in, space. So
word, I saw that. Like, he's big as hell on him.
So they finally he said, I've never practiced that before. So that's the kind of disjointed coaching that we're getting to the Bears. It's infuriating. He thought, I felt good about myself, felt good about the team. And almost like you, Rhino and Dave, I had shades of the playoffs for my team, which I haven't seen in a long time. So it was frustrating. I don't know, Seventh Letter, what were your thoughts watching that debacle, that fourth quarter?
All right, so out of all of us on here, who kind of knew that was going to happen? I know I did. Like, I knew it was going to end like that. I knew it. Yeah. Like, I knew y'all was going to lose because I already saw. I'm like, he's going to take what he's going to do, especially after Justin Fields got caught on 4th down. I said, oh, no, it's over. It's a wrap. They're going to go down and score somehow, some way. It's the same. I've saw this movie so many times. And Justin Fields needs to go somewhere where he can be I wouldn't even do that to that man in Chicago with a new coaching staff and have to learn a whole new offense again. He needs to go somewhere where they know how to use him and trust him, and y'all don't trust him. You know why y'all took the ball out of his hands at the end of the game? The coach took the ball out of his hands at the end of the game. You know why? Because he don't trust him. Because he puts him in positions to fumble and all that. Because Justin Fields has fumbled. 18 fourth quarter turnovers by Justin Fields every time. 40 starts, 18 turnovers in the fourth quarter.
Well, here, let me continue this. Bring in Trevor. Welcome, Trevor.
What's up,
Kempner Sports? How are you doing?
All right.
So we're just talking about my Bears and lamenting. Yes. So Seventh Letter, I've been on Justin Fields, since he was born, right?
That's your son. You love him.
I do. And yes, I think part of it is the coaching staff. You're right; they don't trust him. Probably the biggest knock on him would be he does not. Throw with anticipation. That's the biggest thing, right? But you need to have a coaching staff that's going to trust you. So look at this. Here are the Bears' fourth quarter plays before the decisive drive. Khalil Herbert, run right. Herbert, run right. Tyler Scott, run. Tyler Scott, run. Punt. Justin Fields, incomplete deep middle pass. Rashawn Johnson, run. Justin Fields, scramble on 3rd and 9. Rashawn Johnson, run. Sack. Just on and on. There were no design runs for Justin Fields, and one target for DJ Moore. One target for your best player. Like, that's like, okay, well, we've got, we've established this. DJ Moore is not Justin Jefferson, though, right? Okay, I'm gonna. Sorry, I put Trevor on mute here. Oh no, he's put himself on mute. So DJ Moore is not Justin Jefferson, but it would be like KOC doing that to Justin Jefferson. We've got our best player in crunch
he
time.
has.
Okay, so best player in crunch time. Let's not try to design ways to get him the ball. And that's what Getsy does. Like, he tries to be too smart, fourth down, all these different plays. And I know, Trevor, said, well, the officiating was horrible as well on that, Browns fourth down holding call, and then it ended up getting a touchdown and all that. But really, it's this coaching staff. You're right, some player. They do not know how to use Justin Fields. They don't trust him. But none of the Bears fans trust Luke Getsy. We are ready to fire him off into the sun. A one-way ticket to, let's send him to Minnesota. We want him to go to Minnesota. We want him to go to somewhere other than Chicago. It's just, yes, we've seen this movie way too many times. I would rather, no one wishes someone to lose their job, but
I do. Get everybody out. Not Eberflus too. Everybody.
Yes.
Go.
No,
Ryan Poles built a pretty good scout.
Give him another shot.
No. Get him.
I think Eberflus deserves like a 5-year contract extension.
I'm sure he does.
Extension.
Get him out.
The
only thing I'm afraid of is if they send Justin Fields to like the Seahawks or something. Send him to the Falcons. Go to the Seahawks. That'll be because Pete Carroll was going to coddle that man and put him in positions to be successful. That's what he did.
Yes, he does that.
Russell Wilson.
This is Drew Lock. He wins with Drew Lock.
Yes. That bump.
Rhino and Dave, what if Justin Fields goes to Minnesota?
He doesn't fit Kevin O'Connell's offense, so
Okay.
I don't see that happening. There's very slim to no chance of that. You'd have another Josh Dobbs situation.
Kind of seen that experiment.
Yeah.
Although he's more talented than Josh Dobbs.
Oh yeah, no question about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we've got
I would say he has the same problem though. They throwing without no anticipation, and that might be your understanding of the offense. Do you feel Justin Fields doesn't hit the books? I don't know. Is that
he does? He
does.
So that shouldn't be the problem.
But that's the way
it's instinctual.
Played. That's how he's played at Ohio State. He just had 3 NFL wide receivers to throw to.
That's what I'm saying. Like Dobbs, the first couple of games, guys were wide ass open, and when he was throwing it to them, and then when it came to the second half of the Saints game, where guys were covered, you could see guys going to be open, but he's taken off rather than throwing it to the place where the guy's going to be open. So it's like you're saying Justin Fields doesn't throw with anticipation. I was just asking.
He can definitely get better, and that's the problem. That's why I've said, the coaching can definitely help make or break a quarterback, and we've seen that. Having 49er, Twitter people and Facebook people, saying, okay, Brock Purdy is the in the MVP conversation. He should be, and obviously he's done well, but then you can say, okay, well, is it the coaching? And that's a big part.
Brock Purdy throws with anticipation.
Oh yes,
he's for sure.
It might just be a 6-yard pass, but he throws it. He throws it.
Yeah, my argument is, you have to have a coaching staff that's gonna trust him, and obviously they started this season and they changed his footwork, they did all that, and I think that's just they messed with his head. So I think they may move on from him. Which it's gonna suck, seeing him do well in another.
I had to do it too, man. I sent my son Matthew to the Rams. It happened, bro. You can still be happy for him. You can still do that, but they just used my boy better than we ever did. So that's the way it goes. You know what I mean? Like it's tough though, because I love Stafford. Looking at him now, like look at this mother. Look at him.
We all still rooted for Bridgewater when he went.
See.
It's all how the guy leaves the team,
Well, let's bring in our boy to talk about the Packers. So we haven't done any Packer love yet. So Trevor, Kempner Sports, tell us what happened in Week 15. How were the Packers rated by the Bucs at Lambeau?
Yeah, I was. I knew that they were going to come out and play well. I think they're like a pretty decent team. They're fighting for their playoff lives as well. So it's quite interesting. We made Baker Mayfield look like the best quarterback in the league. I mean, everyone's wanting Joe Barry fired now again for the 13th game in a row. Last year.
Joe Barry's the missing booty, by the way. But go ahead.
Yeah. So Joe Barry is just amazing, and they're keeping him, and I don't think they're going to let him go until the end of the year. So I do think the defensive strategy was terrible. Offensively, I was very encouraged by many things, especially not having Watson out there, having Aaron Jones back. They ran him a lot in the first half. But not having Watson there, and then you see Wicks really stepping up. He played really well. Kraft played really well. The guy that's quiet for a number of weeks is Dobbs. Like, where is he now? Like, and there was a huge argument that he was the number one wide receiver in Green Bay, and it's like he has been like invisible out there. So I see a lot. I mean, that throw to Jaden Reed in the touchdown, tapping the toes there, that was next level. I mean, Jordan Love on the run, that accurate, that was amazing, because we've seen some pretty inaccurate. There's some inaccurate stuff to his left. I don't know why he can't throw to the left, little short passes. Something he's got to work on. So yeah, give credit though to the Bucs. I thought Baker Mayfield looked amazing. They didn't want to guard. They didn't want to guard Godwin. Apparently, he had like 4,000 catches. Didn't score a touchdown that didn't need to. And I think Rachaad White is a very good running back who's very underrated in this league, and he's very, very good. And I love having him in fantasy football. So
yeah, he helped me win my game last week too. So
yeah, there you go. Right. So yeah, that's where I'm at with my Packers. I mean, we're a bit bipolar, to be honest. We're really good, and then we're really not good. So it's like we are so up and down. It's really hard to watch. I understand there's growing pains to this team, and there's progress, but it's hard when you look that good 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks in a row, and then for 2 weeks in a row you look that bad. It's hard to watch. It's hard to be a fan, but you just stick with it, and you point out the positives and say, hey, we can make it. Now, granted, like if we fire Joe Barry today, who do we replace him with? I don't even know what you do. So I don't know what the answer is there. Like, can we stop playing 10 yards off the player and letting them do whatever they want? Or, we got them in dime when like it's just crazy.
Sounds like you could hire Ed Donatel and fit him right in there.
Yeah, I was going to say, is he a protege of Ed Donatel or?
Well, I mean. Wasn't he on the 0-16 Lions?
Wait, here we go again. That he didn't have nobody.
No. What I'm saying is, though, I'm not discrediting the Lions. What I'm saying is he was in charge.
Mm-hmm.
So why are we hiring a guy he was on that team? I don't want anything to do with that roster, that coaching staff. I don't know.
The last 2 years, y'all been in, y'all was good. The last 3 years.
Yeah,
I want to push back against that a little bit. Jim Schwartz, what was his record?
That wasn't Jim Schwartz. That was Rob Marinelli.
But didn't Jim Schwartz have a bad season? Was it like 1-15 one year versus the Lions?
He won like 3 games.
Okay, yeah. And obviously, but like some of these coordinators, they're better in certain situations. Obviously, he's done awesome in with the Browns, right? In a coordinator position. We talk about coaches.
He drafted all those good players. He drafted Sue, Fairley, Ezekiel Ansah, Darius Slay, like all those players. Those are Jim Schwartz players right there. What's our best linebacker we ever had? Number 54, I forget his name. DeAndre Levy. Like these are all good players that he drafted. That's Schwartz regime. And then when he left, and then we got Caldwell. We had the number 2 defense in the league. So we were good.
Well, yeah, but you can a coach can draft players, but it's got and that's part of it. But then coaching them up, that's why Eberflus has gotten so much flack with us. Like he has made some good decisions defensively as defensive coordinator, but he's just not that overall good CEO head coach. He just does not have it. He's got
He's not it. He picks poor. Yeah, his coordinators suck. Like he's just not.
Well, yeah, they're fired during the season for HR issues.
Right.
2 of them.
Nobody knows why.
and yet Joe Barry still has a job. Is Matt LaFleur, is he in danger of losing his job because of hooking his wagons to Barry? Or
I like how I do like how loyal he is and that he believes in the guys he brings in. So it's just catch-22. Like everyone wants everyone fired every year, especially if you don't like the playoffs. And I understand that mentality, but you can't. There's something about building something, but after 2 seasons of watching the same thing, I don't think you can. And they don't usually fire in season anyways. The problem is we're trying to make the playoffs. And so we kind of need these wins, just saying. So maybe letting Barry go and having some kind of a new scheme, but how can you implement those things right away and see success? I'm not sure. So I don't think Matt LaFleur is on the hot seat. I don't think that at all.
No, it can't be. He has big wins. He beat the Lions. He beat the Chiefs. Like he got big wins over there. So it's no reason to fire the coach. It ain't his fault. You got a bunch of babies on offense.
Well, and especially, I think Jordan Love showing promise, most of the season. I think you got to keep him, keep that intact. Let's move into week 16, and Dave, I'm going to give you the start here. Give us the path to the Vikings taming the Lions on Christmas Eve in Minnesota.
Well, when you're on a road game on the holidays, you're kind of thinking of other things too. So it's like that's always something to think about for the road team. That worked out well for us last year during Thanksgiving against the Patriots. So that's an added advantage. Our defense is better than their defense statistically. Red zone, they're 29th, 23rd, I think. And overall, if I'm not mistaken, I'm looking at 23rd, and or scoring defense. They're a little better in yardage, but those are the 2 important ones: scoring and red zone. So that helps us, especially with Mullen's deficiencies in the red zone. So that's a decent matchup for us. Their offensive line obviously is the best in the division, so that's where we got to be able to handle that, and our key is through stopping the run game. And the fact that people do not have a book on us defensively. Like, we lead the league in blitzing, but we lead the league in dropping 8. So that's crazy to think about, that we lead the league in both categories and not even close, right? So you never know what you're going to get. We got, 9 guys on the line of scrimmage, and then we drop, and you don't know who's coming, who's going. So that's a nice little feature that we got with our defense. But I think where it comes to us is if we win the turnover battle, I think we win the game. And that's been the case all year. And if we lose the turnover battle, we lose we have 1 win when that's happened. So I think it's
okay.
Well, and then we have 1 loss, and then ties. I think we win those 2. So I think we got to win the turnover battle though against the Lions to have that advantage on them, and I think we can pull it out that way. I think defensively we're our offense to their defense is a good matchup, I think, and obviously guys have stepped up. Like, now we finally have put our best running back out there. Earlier in the season we weren't playing Addison. A lot of he had 20. He saw the field 20 times in a couple of games. So now he is definitely our second receiver, and he just went for a Hondo and 2 touchdowns. So now Justin Jefferson's back. I know he says Laporta is better than TJ Hawkinson, but TJ's got 200 more yards than him, and he's going to he's already set the Vikings record for the most receptions by a tight end. Sure, he's cheaper, but technically, I think we still got the advantage there at tight end too. And Josh Oliver's nothing to shake a stick at either. He's shown up in spots. But hey, that's how we'd have to win, is to stop their run and hopefully confuse them on in the passing game.
Rhino, what are your thoughts on the Lions having to visit the Mall of America and Lake Minnetonka?
Well, I mean, Dave mentioned it here briefly. The biggest thing is the turnover battle. You know, if we tie or win the turnover battle, more often than not, I think we're like 17-3 in games that we are either even or plus in the turnover margin. If we're minus in the turnover margin, we're like 2-8. So we got to protect the ball. Brian Flores has typically always had a good scheme for games against Jared Goff historically when he was with Miami and that kind of stuff. And seems like if you can get pressure on Goff, that's when he's going to start making those mistakes. Danielle Hunter's sitting on a career year so right now as far as sacking the quarterback. He typically plays well. Now, Detroit's offensive line is one of the best in the league. It's one of my biggest envies of the Lions is how good their offensive line is. That being said, ours has gotten better than it has been in years past. But, I think the key is going to be how Flores disguises his blitzes and manufactures ways to get in Goff's face to make him make those mistakes. And if we can get a couple of turnovers, I think the offense, we talked about earlier, Mullins has showed that he can run the offense at least semi-efficiently. And if he can quit from, not do those couple of boneheaded throws like he did last week, I think the offense can move the ball.
Is Jefferson fully healthy?
Yeah, he's not even on the injury report anymore. He's
okay.
And he's hungry.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
right now we have a chance by the end of the year to have 3 receivers go over 1,000 yards, something the Vikings have never done. Hawkinson, I think, is like 30 some yards away. Addison is 160, I believe. The long shots, Jefferson, he needs like 317 yards, I believe it is, to get to 1,000. But I mean, at the beginning of the year, granted that was with Kirk Cousins throwing.
That'll be halftime of the Packers game, right?
Yeah. He had 151 yards against the Packers.
I mean, he'll get 317 by halftime with the Packers game.
There you
Two
go.
games. Okay.
Alone.
Let's hope.
But so I mean, we have that there, and we just have to get back to playing the kind of football that we're capable of playing. And the only other thing I got to say is, for God's sakes, if we try to run the tush push, do not use the smallest guy on the dang field.
We like 5'8" guys.
5'8", 185 when you've got a tight end that's 6'7", 260, or a
Josh Oliver, probably one of the strongest dudes in the NFL.
Yeah, or a 230-pound fullback, or Ty Chandler, who had already ran for $132 on the game.
It's like these teams, they have this play and they assume that other people can do it, but you have to look at Jalen Hurts, his size, and
we've been very successful at it though. It's just we're like, what's this? What? Owl? We've done it, and we even had 2 we made earlier in the game, and one of them was just a traditional sneak, and it was like, what's this Powell thing going on here? But to do it once, okay, but to do the same effing thing again the second time, like, oh my god.
Well, obviously, this is the first meeting in a few weeks for these teams. I'm going to give you Seventh Letter a chance to give the path to the Lions, anchoring down the Vikings offense and setting sail with the W this weekend.
I think basically all we got to do is kind of bludgeon them, just run the ball. Then we can play our play action game. But we got to get them out of that blitzing. We got to we have to bring it to them and not let them control them. We have to bring it to them on the defense too. You know what I mean? Because they do have a quarterback that's prone to turnovers, so we need to create turnovers again. Just like they said, the turnover battle was very important to us, because I think the only time we've ever really won, I think we won 2 games when we lost the turnover battle. You know what I mean? It can't happen. We got to play a clean game like last week, and it probably won't be because they're a little bit more aggressive with the blitzes and everything. But we have to run the ball no matter what. Stick to it. I was getting sick in the beginning of the game when we just came out with 6 passes. Like, what are we doing? Run the ball. They can't stop us. Run the ball. Make them respect us, and then bring the fight to them.
I would
we
almost
gotta establish ourselves. We 10-4. This is our division. We gotta act like it. We gotta stop playing and underestimating people. Plus, they got a quarterback that the quarterbacks that hurt us are the ones that are mobile. That's all our losses. All our losses have come from quarterbacks that are mobile. And the statues usually we don't have problems with them defensively. But the ones that run, they kill us.
I was going to say, obviously the turnover battle is important, but also as a Bears fan, I know you can get turnovers, but you have to turn them into points. And, as far as quarterbacks, I think I would trust Goff to kind of turn those and the weapons that the Lions have. I would trust him a little bit more, turning those into touchdowns rather than field goals, as opposed to kind of what the Vikings have been doing. Obviously, I don't know how tough the Bengals defense really was. So that'll be interesting to see, will the Vikings kind of regress to, offensively, what they were doing. And I mean, the Lions defense was supposed to be good this year. I mean,
but we lost two very important pieces to our defense. We lost James Houston and Garner Johnson in the second game. And from that day forward, we struggled stopping the pass. We played very well until then. Well, actually, we played good against Pat Mahomes, and we played pretty well. We were winning against the Seahawks, and then the second half, those two guys got hurt. So they came back and they won. That's what hurt us. So we had to manufacture pass rush. We got to do all kind of crazy shit in the secondary. We can't attack as much. So because the pass rush ain't getting home. But last week, we changed everything around. We sat Tracy Walker. We got Jerry Jacobs out the game. You know what I'm saying? And it was different. We let Iffy play, and Iffy is fast and 6'3", 210, and he played his ass off. You know what I mean? And if we continue using these people that haven't gotten an opportunity to play, and they play at that level that they played last week, we should be just fine. I was afraid of their receivers last week. I don't know why, and I think the Vikings are slightly better in that department. At tight end, definitely. Their receivers, they got the best receiver in the world over there in Minnesota. So
wait. Did you say something good about T.J. Hockenson?
That's my son. He was not better. That's my son. He came from us. He just don't block. That's it. He don't block. That's all. My new kid, he blocks. He blocks. He's aggressive. He knows how to move after he gets the ball. He don't fall as soon as he catch it. That's what I like out of my tight end. I will use a slot receiver for what they use T.J. Hockenson for now in Minnesota. But that's me.
Do you like the Lions this week then to win?
Yeah. Like 24-17.
24-17. Okay.
Yeah, like
what about you, Rhino? Do you think the Vikings are going to beat the Lions this week?
Well, if we've learned anything in the 2 years that Kevin O'Connell's been here, that this will be a one-score game, because we are apparently incapable of winning games by more than one score unless it's against Green Bay. But so I think the Vikings, it's do or die for us. We have, like I said, we have to have 2 out of these last 3 games. So we have to, if we lose this one, we have to win the last 2. Kind of depending upon where things lie, as was brought up earlier, that final game of the season, if Detroit has nothing to play for, makes it a little bit easier on us. But I think we come out and we get it done this weekend. It's going to be, Mullins has got a game under his belt now. He hadn't played since 2021, so there was a little bit of a rust factor there. We had the emergence of Ty Chandler last week. If we can run the ball effectively and not force Mullins to have to, play hero ball like what he was doing when he threw those interceptions last week, I think, and Flores always has a good plan for the defense. I think we can get it done.
Dave, I know you're picking the Vikings this week, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna give the 7th letter the 12th letter. If you want, you can check the alphabet what letter that is. But no, he came a long way from saying he was going to destroy us. That was the last time I talked to him. But yeah, well, I think
Bears humbled him.
The Bears softened him up, and I appreciate the Lions to give the confidence to keep Justin Fields for another year. We appreciate that, so they don't draft a quarterback. So, anyways, just kidding. But yeah, I'm picking 27-24, and just you were talking about how you trust the Lions to turn turnovers into points. Well, you also got to take the side of the defense. We're 20 points ahead, or 20 spots ahead of them in both, in red zone scoring on defense and scoring defense. So you got to put that side of the ball.
But you know what we'll do?
We may negate that a little bit.
We'll just go deep. That's it.
Just go deep. All right.
That's it.
But yeah, it will, because there has been times where we were like, Flores, why you dropping 8 right now? And that was, what happened with you guys with the Bears.
Yeah.
You guys got that drive at the end of the game, and that's
clutch
what happened.
Fields.
We had a
clutch.
3rd and 24 we gave up in this last game. We dropped 8. So, but yeah, it's like Rhino said, it's do or die for us, and we played really well with our backs up against the wall. We've been in this situation at least 5 times this year. So,
speaking of dropping 8, are you down to 6 and 8, Trevor, on the Lions or the Packers? What's the record for the Packers now?
All I know is we got to win 3 in a row. That's all I know. Got to
win 3 in a row, and yes, and we're starting this week. This is probably one of the only weeks that I will ever say "Go Pack, go." I am rooting for the Packers this week to beat the Panthers. Could they possibly screw this up for me, Trevor?
Yeah, I mean anything's possible, but I don't think we're going to lose this game. And if we do, I mean, maybe we'll fire someone early because this is the worst team in the league. And if you can't win this one, I don't know what you're doing as a football team and as players. I think you have to have pride and you have to have confidence in your skill set. And if you can't beat a team like this, then you don't deserve to be in the playoffs. And there should be some big changes, not only in the coaching staff, but I think there should be some significant talk about some of the players that we're not bringing back too. So, yeah, it'd be interesting. I don't see a scenario where we lose this game. I think we're going to win, but I thought we were going to beat the Giants too. So,
injury-wise, is Dylan and Christian Watson, are they playing this week?
Yeah, they don't know yet. So. It doesn't matter if Dylan plays as long as Aaron Jones plays. I don't think we lost anything last week from this week. But it would be nice to have Dylan play. I like watching him play. I like him trucking people over. It's a lot of fun. But Watson would be a real difference maker. It'd be really, really nice to have back because Wicks kind of looked like he was injured at the end of the game, limping around. So
what's your score prediction for this week?
I think we're going to win big, actually. I think we're just going to click, and it's going to be like something like 35-13.
All right, and it's only a 3.5-point Packer.
I understand that.
Yeah.
How many times have they been wrong before?
Defense in the league, like number 2, number 3. Panthers got a good defense.
Surprisingly, they are. Yeah.
Panthers got a real good defense.
So, what about you, 7th letter? Do you think you're picking the Packers this week?
Yeah, I don't see a path for the Panthers to win. They just I don't know, man. I feel I don't know how the hell the Falcons lost that.
Arthur Smith is going to be done. Like he is.
It's a wrap. It's a
like
wrap.
No way you lose to that.
Just gonna do what we did and throw a pick 6 to start the game after scoring a touchdown on a holding penalty.
Maybe
that was awesome way to start a game.
David Rhino, do you think the Packers are going to win this week?
Yeah, I mean, as was brought up
go
before,
off for 3 hondo.
Thielen, yes.
I don't see how Green. I mean, of course, it's possible any given Sunday and all that kind of stuff. But if the Packers lose on Sunday, they don't deserve a shot at the playoffs because this is a game, just like the Vikings tend to play down to the competition. If you play down to your competition, you stand a good chance of getting beat. But if you go out and take care of business against an inferior opponent, you should get it done.
Just use all your bullets before week 17. That's all you care about.
Hey, Trevor, how about this? Packers are going to win 35-17, and Jordan Love, my guy, Jordan Love, is going to show out this week. He's going to pass.
I'm with you. I actually agree.
Although I did want to say, so I was kind of going back as we're kind of looking at some of these predictions. You made great predictions about Jordan Love, very realistic and you were spot on that. I did want to bring up here that I did say this would be the second straight year that no Packer wide receiver would go for over 1,000 yards. Did I not? Do we know who the leading receiver is for the Packers? I'm going to give that one to you, Trevor. Do you know?
It's probably Jaden Reed.
Jaden Reed, very good. 592.
So I guess against the Vikings, like they think Jefferson's going to get 300 in the first half. So yeah, maybe Jaden Reed.
Jaden Reed's going over 1,000.
300 by the second,
yeah.
by the Lions in the first half. So
yeah,
counting the Lions game, not 300 against you guys. I'm not that silly.
No, he'll only go for 130.
We didn't do predictions for the Lions Vikings game.
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah, we just did. Where were you?
Oh yeah.
Did everyone say the Vikings except for seventh letter?
No, I'm all in on the Lions this week.
Same.
All in on the Lions. Although, if the Vikings defensively, like I don't know about you guys, but I think when you look at Brian Flores, like with what he's done defensively, he has to get another shot this coaching style, right? Or just this coaching cycle, right?
I don't think so.
It all depends on the good old boy coaching. Thing with
he kind of fucked up last year, telling on him.
That lawsuit thing is still kind of hanging over, in the background there. But
on top of that, I think it's someone says 11 out of 14 playoff teams right now have offensive head coaches.
That's the thing. So yeah, I mean, I really admire what he has done, but yeah, as a Bears fan, I mean, especially
if you got a young quarterback,
exactly.
Tua,
you want someone to mold.
He was trying to get rid of Tua.
Yeah.
So that's.
But you look back.
Yeah.
Let's say you look back what he did with the Dolphins and turning them around. Yeah, I mean, he was that was an impossible situation there. So I don't know.
The weird thing about him as a head coach of the Dolphins too is he gave up defensive play calling, except for the second year. In the second year, they were elite. Turnovers, scoring defense, things like that. But the other 2 years, he gave up play calling, and they were middle road. It's weird. So do you give that guy a shot? That's like you said, told on the league, and then do you? So we're holding on hope that he's going to be there. But like I agree with you, he deserves a shot, and it's not going to be the Chargers because you're not going to put him with Herbert. It's. You're
right.
Gonna go, and then you're not going to go. I don't think he's going to go back to New England. Because they're going to try to get a young quarterback, and they're not going to put him with that. So yeah, he's going to have tough. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for him, I think. He might get one though.
So what happens if the Vikings lose this week? What will be the mentality? Like, do you guys still think you're going to have a shot to make the playoffs, or is it going to be like? Will the fan base be like, you know what, we were close, we're not going to make it. It'd be better to get a draft pick. Like, what would be your mentality, guys?
I'm all about winning every game, no matter what.
Yeah, I'm the same way too. I'm not one of these people that can, in good conscience, be a proponent of tanking.
And 9-8 can make the playoffs. We still would have tiebreakers and stuff because we have a pretty good NFC conference record.
Yep.
So there would be a shot of beating you guys and then them and then the Lions possibly mailing it in the last game if they have no,
so
if they
then
can't move up or down.
if you lost and then you would think that beating, like that would be a big game against us.
It's big against you either way. Yeah.
We don't care, obviously like the Lions playing you guys last year, they wanted to do everything they could to beat you. They didn't. We're the same way, right? We're not gonna. Yeah.
How ironic would this be? And I don't think it's going to happen. But how ironic would it be if the Vikings were going to sneak into the playoffs and they would actually win a playoff game without Kirk Cousins, right? Like without Kirk Cousins, I know it's, you think about that.
Well, there's a big difference between having the 31st ranked defense and and having the 5th ranked, 7th, right. I guess now, scoring defense.
But Cousins is leaps and bounds above Mullins, correct?
Oh yeah, no question.
Yeah. Well, let's move to my team, and I don't even know what to think right now. The path to caging the Cardinals on Christmas Eve at Soldier Field. Now, looking at this game, obviously it should be a win for the Bears, right? But there really are no should wins for this team and this coaching staff, unfortunately. It is at home. I think that's huge. The defensive is just playing lights out, and that's Montez Sweat. He has 6.5. He's leading the Bears with 6.5 or 6 sacks. One of those 6 sacks. He's leading the Bears team with sacks. He hasn't even been on the team all that long. He's also leading the Commanders with 6.5 sacks. It's 6 or 6.5 on both of those. I gotta pull that up in a sec here. But I don't think that's ever happened, for a player to lead 2 different teams in sacks. And so his emergence, his coming on the Bears has really added overall to the entire defense. Jalen Johnson is starting to show out. And finally today he come out and said that basically if they give him a fair deal, he wants to stay in Chicago. He likes what the Bears are building. So it's not necessarily saying team friendly, but pay the man, right? He is – getting there, emerging in upper echelon. Obviously we'd have to kind of look at division wise, but I like him staying on the Bears. I like what Tyreek Stevenson is doing. He had an amazing interception. If you saw that, just him kind of laying out, versus the Browns. So I like, the linebackers. I like this defense and what they're doing. And I think they're, with where the Cardinals are at, I think they should be able to shut Kyler Murray down. I'm not even 100% sure what he is at this point, Kyler Murray. But I think the Bears should be able to, beat the Cardinals. It may be a low scoring game. Unless, I'm hoping that they can unleash Justin Fields this week and he can, throw for 300 yards. I know he's behind the Jordan Love pace, but I'm still on my Justin Fields love train, and I'm thinking the Bears do win this week. But really, overall, the only game that I really care about now, kind of going forward, is Week 18, Trevor. So that's really the only one I care about at this point. What are your thoughts on the Bears this week, Trevor? Do you think the Bears are going to win?
Yeah, I do. I do think the Bears are going to win. I think Justin Fields is going to have a good day. I think they're going to fix some of the things that they did wrong last week. I think they're going to get the ball into DJ Moore's hands a lot more. I think Cole Kmet has really continued to improve and to look a little bit more dangerous in that offense. So, and then I just believing in the Bears' revamp of this defense. Sweat is fantastic. That was an incredible pickup. So I think they're going to have their hands full with your defense. Your defense looked good for the last couple of weeks, actually, I think.
They have. I am a little bit worried about Trey McBride. We've shown to
and guard tight ends. That's what
I was exactly. So if fantasy wise, if you have Trey McBride, start him. But I don't know if there's really another wide receiver to start.
Yeah, I'm all in on the Bears winning this week.
What about you?
I'm gonna go to Cardinals.
All right, fair enough.
I do think you could tell the 49ers are clearly a better team, but they was fighting. They played with a lot of dignity last week, man, and that's what I think. When 2 bad teams kind of play against each other, the one that wants it a little more usually comes out on that. It's gonna be a whole bunch of hero ball. Two quarterbacks that like to hold the ball forever and run behind the line of scrimmage and run the ball a lot. Hopefully neither one gets hurt, but it's going to be a lot of bad football, a lot of bad quarterback play happening this week.
Although that bad team has dominated your team twice.
This
but
is true.
Carry on.
This is true. I'm not fair enough. I can't dispute that. We got to definitely find a way to deal with those running quarterbacks. But we're talking about this week. And I think the way that the Cardinals played last week against the 49ers, they played with a lot of pride. And that's the Gannon team all year, actually. They played well. They beat the Cowboys. They're going to run the ball a lot, and I just think like this week it might be one of those games where, you're going to be mad again next Wednesday.
Can't hurt this week. This week the Bears can't hurt me. They cannot hurt me this week.
Okay, we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, they can only hurt me week 18. That's the only I think now.
Wouldn't it be in your best interest to have play well, maybe lose by a few, have a lot to build on? Because at this stage you're wanting better draft picks, honestly, because you're going to wanting to prove this team. I know the guys don't like the idea of tanking, but there's only one way that you get better in this league is by drafting well and having the options of picking some really good players. And there are going to be some really good players in the draft this year. There is every year, but
Trevor, I'm hoping the Packers take care of that for me this week, right?
Well, I'm saying you have 2 picks coming up, right?
I know.
You want 2 good picks, or you just want 1?
Yes and no. I think the benefit of the Bears doing well this week and the next 3 weeks, right, is twofold. And I have no idea what they're going to do with Fields. But if they do well this week, they can either do one of 2 things and get a lot of assets, right? They can trade Fields and hopefully, get a lot of assets from a team that, thinks that they are one quarterback away and a playmaker away, and they can, have a good offensive coordinator with him. And then I think they may be able to get, a lot of assets, trade assets for him. And the other one is if he does well, that he proves, yes, he is the guy going forward. We want to continue to build on him with him. We want to find an offensive coordinator that really meshes well. And that's the tough thing. Yes, obviously you say, let's restart the quarterback timeline. But as a Bears fan, I don't want to have to do that again. In seventh letter, this is why I've been on my guy so much, why I'm staying with him. I don't want to reset that timeline, because you reset that timeline, it's another 2, 3, 4, whatever years, until you expect to be in contention.
Well, I would say y'all got a defense though. You know what I'm saying? And that could be accelerated a little bit. You got DJ Moore already. You draft another receiver, maybe. I know Darnell Mooney days in Chicago are.
He's done. Yep, he's done. He doesn't want to be there. Yep.
Get a quarterback, a left tackle, maybe find another receiver. You got a bunch of money still.
Yep.
So it's a bunch of. You don't have to necessarily like draft. I hope you don't draft a quarterback and Marvin Harrison Jr. But there's another wide receiver at LSU, if I'm not mistaken. That's pretty good. So
neighbors.
You get another.
Yeah.
You can do
LSU wide receivers. Yeah. So that's when you look at that. So we'll see what they end up doing. But I just don't want to reset that timeline. And obviously, Vikings. I mean, you're kind of in that same boat too. I mean, what do you do with Cousins? Do you want to reset that? Obviously Nick Mullins isn't the guy, right?
Yeah, I right now on the active roster, the guy's not there. Jaron Hall is a developmental prospect that could possibly be a good backup someday. I don't think the Vikings have any delusions of grandeur with him that he's going to be the next Brock Purdy or anything like that. If he turns out like that, great. But I think the Vikings are going to take a quarterback early this year. Situations as they are, I think the asking price on Kirk Cousins probably is going to be a little bit less than what we originally thought it was going to be. So a 1 to 2 year deal on Kirk is definitely on the table, I think. But as far as your game this weekend, a lot we're all talking about, not actively wanting to tank and not being able to do that stuff. Arizona, I don't think has any problems with that, and I think Arizona wants Marvin Harrison.
Mm.
So, they played well last week, but that's a division game against a rival. There's always a little bit more there. So I don't know that Arizona would be too heartbroken if they go to Soldier Field and lose, which I think they're probably going to.
But even with Dobbs,
go ahead.
Like I say, even with Dobbs, like early in the season, they had a fight, right? And maybe that was part of kind of the Dobbs mania. But I think I just don't know. I mean, I do like their head coach, but I just don't know what they're going to do with Kyler Murray, and I don't know what he is yet. I mean, are we all agreed that Fields is better than Kyler Murray yet? Yeah?
No. 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 Kyler Murray got
similar.
I mean,
No.
there's all this talk.
A debate.
There's always a discussion of whether or not the Vikings will try to go get Kyler Murray in the fan base, and it's a very small minority of
Kyler Murray.
But they're funny to listen to.
Yeah, Kyler Murray. There again, does not
fit.
Way better at hearing the ball than Justin Fields. Way better.
He's been out quite a bit more, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he got hurt. He had an ACL. What you gonna do?
Yeah, that's hero ball, though, right?
That's what's gonna happen to your boys. Keep on playing hero ball.
It depends on Call of Duty when a new Call of Duty comes out.
Nah, he been chilling.
Luckily last year it came out the week they played us.
He did.
So do you guys not think that the Kirk Cousins will be back as your starting quarterback next year?
No, I think it's all things are leaning to him signing a 2-year but 1-year guaranteed type of contract, just based on the after he went down was like the first time we heard our GM and coach talk about him coming back and how they want him. So I know Rhino doesn't want him back. He wants to turn the page a little bit. But I think he's also realizing that, hey, this team's a little bit better than we thought defensively. So, hey, maybe we can take a shot this next year.
See, it's, I was going to say, it's such a mirage sometimes, like week to week, like fan-wise, winning and losing, right? Like even as a Bears fan, like I got hope. Oh, hey, even halfway through that Browns game, hey, week 18 might mean something. Oh, we might actually have a shot in all of this. Like, it's such a week to week thing. And I know you say the Vikings were better than you thought, but that all credit has to go to Brian Flores. I mean, there's so many missing pieces on that defense. Like
my take at the beginning of the year, I said that we'd have a top 10 scoring defense, but our yardage wise, we'd be in the 18. Well, right now 7 and 11. I'm just saying, Viking fans didn't realize that hey, Flores would make this big of a difference.
Right, and so he has, but I think that's the thing. You go into the off season, you get more of a book on kind of what he's been doing. He's been doing some new things. Give all credit to him that way, and so I think winning covers up so much. Like even that last Hail Mary, if Mooney would have caught that, the discussion in Chicago would have been we're on to the playoffs, or we're on to Green Bay week 18, and then that's a possibility. And so everything can shift that way. And I just think, and a couple weeks ago, we talked about the Vikings had an opportunity to lose out. Obviously they did somehow beat the Raiders. And so, but I mean, I really like, Trevor, your question. I mean, things can change. Like, if the Vikings lose this week, I just think it's hard to really see a path where they're. What I'm trying to say is I think a lot of times it's easy to think our teams are better than they are. Now the Lions are clearly the class of the division. Packers have shown something, and I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I was anticipating that Kirk Cousins wasn't going to get injured this year.
Yeah,
I picked the Vikings to win the division. because I thought that Flores was going to be such an incredible addition that if they could improve their defense, which they have, that they were gonna edge out the Lions, and I really thought highly of the Lions. I had the Packers as a third place team, and then the Bears as the fourth place team. Now, when it's all said and done, I might be completely wrong. Like maybe it's the Lions, and then it could be the Vikings next, or the Packers. It could be or the Bears could be second best team in the division if they keep winning. It's just weird what these next 3 weeks are going to say a lot about this division. And everyone says that we had the worst division in football. Craig was the guy who was always saying we had the worst division in football. I was like, that's not true. If you look at the NFC, is it South?
South.
Yeah. Those guys are awful, and they're all whoever wins that division makes playoffs, right?
AFC
Well, there was a time there where we had 3 teams that were, in the playoffs.
Yeah, so NFC North has actually turned out to be quite a lot better than people were anticipating, and it's kind of fun watching our division improve and progress.
Especially with all the quarterback injuries, Fields being out and Cousins being out. So, but yeah, it is interesting. I did expect the Lions to kind of be up there and dominate the division, but for whatever reason, they obviously the mobile quarterbacks, and when you look at roster wise, the Lions should, obviously advance to the playoffs, but who knows?
Yeah, we're gonna be all right.
Well, and the Lions, the other thing too. So they don't do well against mobile quarterbacks, but I think Mullins is going to turn into a mobile quarterback because he's going to be running for his life. You know what I mean? And he's going to better have to do something.
You guys may not know this, but
those guys are coming.
He ran a lot in college.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know. He hasn't done that in the NFL though, right?
No, he's not elite by any means in the NFL about it.
Right.
No.
Right. So.
But I'm just saying that was one of the things he was pretty decent at in college was.
But every quarterback's going to have bad struggle if you can't protect them, right? We've seen that. Every single one of our teams has seen that this year, and that's just like football 101. You know what I mean?
Tom Brady struggled when he's not protected.
That's why the line is so important.
Very.
And that's why I think this past week versus the Browns, and obviously it's the number one defense, but Justin Fields was pressuring 80% of his snaps, 80% of his snaps throws. It was crazy.
I think after Jenkins went out, it was a wrap.
Yes. Yeah. And Tevin Jenkins has been playing better.
Yeah.
So Bears are going to have to draft a center. That's the big thing. They're going to have to do something. Well, this has been a lot of fun. I definitely appreciate having more of the Viking contingent on. I'm learning about fantasy stuff, relevance, players, and all of the optimism from the Viking side. You got to
play all your Vikings this week.
All this.
He sends me a message.
If you're in the playoffs.
Sends me a
Mullins,
message.
Everyone.
Telling me.
Start Mullins.
Thanks for the messages last week.
I wasn't sure if I said that to you or Rhino. I said that to you, Dave. Where can everyone find you, Dave?
Minnesota Sports Talk on YouTube, at Skol World, and all the other stuff.
Very good. And where can everyone find you, Rhino?
Again, Vikings Uncensored on YouTube, Vikings Uncensored Podcast on Facebook, at Vikes Uncensored on the X-Files, formerly known as Twitter, and your standard social media type stuff like that. Again, we do 3 shows a week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So check us out, subscribe if you like, and we try to be as honest as we can on the show. We rip when we need to rip, and we praise when we need to praise. So come check us out. That's
what we're all about too. And Trevor, where can everyone find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter or X, whatever we want to call it, RevTrev K, and then also on YouTube, Kempner Sports.
And I am NFLOutdated. You can find me on Twitter, X, YouTube, and also check out my new pictures. Thanks to Trevor, Kempner Sports, doing those for me. I got to put them up a little bit more in the on my socials and everything. So I appreciate that.
Welcome.
So everyone hit him up if you need any graphics. I'm sure he would be happy to put together some Vikings graphics.
I would be for the right price.
You gotta get y'all gringo prices.
No, I would do it. I like making sports graphics. It's fun.
And seventh letter, where can everyone find you, sir?
Yeah, 7th letter 4 on Twitter X, same OG, Instagram, and Facebook. And win, lose, or draw, I'm still on top of that NFC North, man.
When are you gonna wrap up this division? Come on.
I'm gonna wrap it. I should have wrapped it up this. I'm gonna wrap it up this week. Fuck it. I'll do it this week. I'll do it this week for you.
A while back, I think it was 2009. We the Twins were 6 games back with 8 games to go and passed the Detroit Tigers. Mm-hmm. What would happen if we went out and you guys lose out?
Whoa!
I'm waiting for that shit to happen. A little history repeating itself.
It wouldn't.
You sound like me last week, Dave. You sound like me last week.
Well, we're holding out hope here.
If we lose to that bum, if we lose to Mullins, oh my God, I will be infuriated. I wouldn't know what I would be shaking. I would be mad. I wouldn't even know what to do. After what I saw, he had a lot of yards, but he stank. Period. If we lose to him, I don't even want to go to the playoffs. I hope we lose.
Yeah.
I hope we don't go to the playoffs. I don't want to go into the playoffs losing the shit like that.
Oh,
it
good.
Would be kind of cool us playing 3 times in 4 weeks.
I don't want to do that. Nobody wants to do that.
Nobody wants to see that. I don't think anybody wants to pay attention. Right. There was 2 games that the Vikings were in that nobody wanted to watch. So,
matter of fact, the last time we had home field advantage in the playoffs, we played the Packers the 3rd time and lost. I don't want to do that.
There was a time where we lost the Packers twice and then played in the first round of the playoffs and beat them. That was Jesus.
Man, nobody wants to do that.
That was the infamous Randy Moss moon game.
Oh yeah.
Ah yes. Yeah. Which my guy DJ Moore did do that. Or no, it was Jalen Johnson did that. The cameras didn't even catch
the fake mooning.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, definitely appreciate everyone coming on, and let's get it on week 16. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks again.
All right. Peace, y'all.